Hi guys, so I just thought that I would come up here and actually do this video to explain how a natural cycle IVF works. I know that there's some of you after watching my last video who are thinking, how could my doctor revert an ERA into an IVF cycle, kind of like in the middle? And so I did want to explain a little bit about the type of IVF that I will be undergoing this time. So this month was actually my baseline for the ERA, and baseline typically happens from cycle day 3 to cycle day 5, cycle 2 to cycle day 5. So I went cycle day 5, which was Monday, and lo and behold, my sonographer and I kind of looking, and it was a 13 millimeter follicle. So I just thought that was kind of strange because I've never had a 13 millimeter follicle on cycle day 5. But never thought anything of it. We thought maybe it was a cyst, did the blood work, and lo and behold, my doctor calls me. And when the doctor calls, you pick up the phone. I was in the middle of doing something. And he said that, he doesn't think that this would be a good cycle to do the ERA because you want the ERA to be as realistic and true to a traditional cycle. And it's true, this was very unconventional how this happened. And so it would give us a false reading. So his recommendation was that we do an ERA mock transfer next month, which will be April. And then, as you guys know, it takes about 2 weeks for the ERA results to come in. So May will be kind of like a skipped cycle because the results will be coming in after my cycle has started. So we're looking at doing an actual transfer in June. So that's fine. Obviously, this just makes our journey so much more longer than we anticipated. But when it comes to this phase, guys, when you have one euploid embryo, you want to give it everything it's got, everything. So I was perfectly fine with that. But then here's the caveat. So we then have this 13 millimeter follicle that's there. So he suggests that he's going to give us a complementary egg retrieval cycle. And he's predicting that we are going to be retrieving this coming weekend. So my husband and I were so happy. I ran in the room, talked to my husband, was so happy. And so basically, then, hence this video, finally getting to it, we're talking about a natural cycle IVF cycle. And so basically, folks, natural cycle IVF typically means that you don't take any medications and you follow the natural cycle the way that your body dictates. And so you still need to do the baseline, and you still need to trigger at the appropriate time. And you do the follow-up scans, which monitor the growth, the natural growth of the follicle. So I'm curious because I had one natural cycle IVF, but the egg ran away because the LH results were kind of didn't come in on time, and it was the time when we were thinking about doing a transfer anyway last October. Doing a transfer and putting in, a fresh versus frozen, which is why we decided to do it back then. But the LH result came late, so the egg ran away. So we just did a frozen transfer, which did not work, but just to give you a perspective on when we did it. But this time, since I've learned, I am actually checking for ovulation. So I actually went back to ovulation sticks and did my ovulation test just to make sure that I know if I'm going to be ovulating, because now it's natural, it's not medicated, so it's not really tracked. And I'm going to keep doing that until this weekend, which is when the doctor wants to retrieve, and yeah, so we can see. So that's simply how natural cycle IVF works. It's just following the natural cycle of your body, and then the retrieve. Usually it's only one egg. Because it's the dominant follicle that has matured. There wasn't any medication to mature the others. So it's always just going to be one. And who knows, maybe this is the golden egg. I mean, this will be the sibling. Who knows? I mean, I was so grateful because it's another chance. You know, guys, this is a journey of hope. That's how I look at it. And this gave me hope. And it's giving me hope. It's given us hope. My husband and I were absolutely thrilled. I mean, just the chance one last time before we get into the transfer for our precious fluid that's in the freezer waiting. So we'll see. So that's how a natural cycle IVF works. I'm sure in my excitement this week as I prepare to go for this IVF cycle 9 that I never predicted was going to happen, I've forgotten something. So if there's something you think I've forgotten about natural cycle, please put it in the comments below. Let's make this a conversation. I know that one of the reasons I'm documenting my journey is because I know that people's journeys really made an impact in my journey and helped me have the best journey, because I really truly did learn from others who are going through IVF and most importantly, the mistakes that they made. I have been researching, and I'm so glad I followed all the tips and messages religiously, and I just pray to God that this Easter, that there will be a miracle, because it is God who shows favor. It is God Most High. Thank you, Jesus. Who would have thought? This journey is unpredictable. So fingers crossed, everybody. We'll see what happens. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.
So I am back, and I just conducted a ovulation test. So I did a digital, and I also did the stick ovulation, and so you can see there I'm not ovulating just yet, which is a really good sign, because that means that it's not escaped. I didn't do this the last time I had a natural cycle, so I'm gonna do a clear blue ovulation just to kind of see where I am, which will then give me an idea about whether I am ovulating or not. So that's kind of like where we are. Yeah, so right now I'm gonna give it a few minutes so I can read the digital. If I see a smiley, then I'll know that, tell the doctor, but I'm hoping that what I'm gonna see is a flashy smiley, because that means that I'm projected to ovulate later this weekend, or if I don't see any face at all. So my goal is to see the flashy or no face at all. What I don't want to see is the solid smiley face, because that means that I'm ovulating. And with natural cycle, you don't want to ovulate ahead of time, right? I think my egg retrieval is going to be on Saturday. Today is Thursday. So I'll keep you posted. We got the result. So as you can see here, for my natural cycle IVF, you can kind of see that the control line is not as dark as the line, the other line. So you can kind of see that right there. So it's the line is not as dark as the control line. So that means that I'm not ovulating, close but not. And then you can see on the clear blue that it is yours before it disappeared because of the timing. It was a clear circle, so we're good to go. So the good news is that I am ovulating. So my worry was that I messed up my trigger. And I messed up my trigger because I used expired medication. And it wasn't expired medication, but it was medication that was refrigerated and had gone beyond the duration that was needed after refrigeration. So medication is still valid, but after opening it, you're supposed to refrigerate it, and you're supposed to use it within a certain amount of time. And so I messed up there. I was recommended Lupron 30 units and Novrol 2000 IU, and yeah, so I was really stressed because I had Novrol and Lupron from a few months ago, which is what I used, refrigerated, and then the one from last month, the HCG from last month and Lupron were not the ones I used. So as you can imagine, I've been pretty stressed. But I went online and I Googled, found similar cases, and they recommended that what I can do is test to make sure that I have HCG in my system. And so I did you can see here that the test line is a lot darker than the control line. So I'm definitely ovulating. So it can detect the medication, and then obviously the clear blue has a smiley. It's not a flashy smiley, but as you can tell, it's a smiley that means that I'm gonna ovulate. I'm ovulating within the next 36 hours. So it is safe for me to go through my natural cycle IVF. I have HCG in the system, so it's gonna ovulate the egg. And since it's one, I think I'm gonna be okay. All right, just thought I'd share because that was really stressful, and maybe you might go through an experience like this. All right, bye guys.